Welcome to Beyond the Hologram. My name is Sol, and in this video I'll be talking about why negative feelings and emotions are necessary for a good balance. So stay tuned. Welcome back. So why do negative emotions and thoughts are necessary for good balance? I mean, throughout our lives, we've been told that the only way to go is to be positive all the time. Think positive, act positive, be positive. And whenever we feel negative feelings and thoughts, we tend to sort of push them away and try and block them and not acknowledge them, thinking that they're bad, that we shouldn't really have them. There's sometimes a bit of a war happening inside of us to try and sort of flick those away. But what we don't understand is these feelings and emotions have a purpose, and they can actually help us find our balance. They're like a guiding mechanism that our souls put in place in order to give us a nudge and move us away from our comfort zone. Now, I'm not talking about the negative people that think negatively about a situation, that they only see the lack, and they always complain and focus on what's wrong in the situation. I'm talking about those negative feelings and emotions we sometimes feel that make us feel, fed up, make us feel anxious. They make us feel even a bit of fear, and make us feel really uncomfortable. And so, through teachings like the law of attraction and stuff like that, we were told that, if we continue to think in that way, that we are going to manifest it in real life. And so we developed that kind of fear that if we keep thinking negative, that we're gonna create it in real life, and therefore the tendency is to push them away. We're afraid that we're going to manifest them. But what you need to understand is that the universe works as a positive and negative. There is a positive and a negative in everything in the universe, that's including our thoughts. It's what creates the flow. It's like a battery would not work with one polarity, with positive only. It needs the negative in order to conduct the current and help it flow through. And we are no different. I mean, we do the positive that we feel, and the negative, that's what gives us contrast. That's what tells us that something is wrong and something needs to change. If we felt positive all the time, then we will not be able to distinguish when change is needed. And sometimes we may even object to a change if it comes through a situation where you feel dissatisfied and unhappy or negative in general. But the truth is that negative and positive are just as important part of life, and suppressing any of them would put a certain kink in the flow. And you need to understand that sometimes when you're feeling negative and you have this feeling that you feel unsatisfied, you feel fed up, you feel you see your life in a negative lens. It could also be that you are being told that a change is required. And sometimes your soul will use these feelings to let you know that you are in a place of of comfortable stagnation, and the time has come to change. We learned to fear them and to try and block them out, because we were told that, we're going to manifest it and we don't want it to manifest. But you need to understand that the universe is not going to punish you because you're feeling negative. There is no law that says that you have to be positive all the time, and if you feel negative, that you are going to get punished for it. That what you're feeling and what you're thinking negatively, as a punishment, you're going to create it, or as a pretext. It has to, it's sometimes you need to feel negative. You need to feel negative to give it a contrast, to let you know that where you are needs to change. And we as humans, we will always try and reject change. We're creatures of habit. We like to stay in a comfort zone. It's familiar. But when a change is required, your soul will use the negative feelings and emotions in order to give you a nudge. It's not going to punish you. The universe is not going to punish you and recreate it. And I know that a lot of you think that if you think negative, it's going to be created in real life. That's not how things work. These negative thoughts can sometimes be described as, a wake-up call. Don't push them away. Don't try and block them, because by doing that, you may be missing on some sort of guidance and a call from your soul that you need to make a change. Get out of your comfortable stagnation. The soul uses the negative emotions as a guiding mechanism just as much as it uses the positive emotions. They work together. Now, many people believe that like attracts like, and that's a notion that's been taught throughout the centuries, that like attracts like, which is correct in certain circumstances. But a musician, for example, would want to be around other musicians, obviously, but that doesn't guarantee that other elements of their character would gel. So, in fact, it's the opposite that attracts. That's the paradox that makes life work. Oh, the positive and negative is like the yin and yang. It's what makes the universe work. A male needs a female to procreate. A day needs darkness and light in order for cycles to work. Two atoms of a like nature will repel each other. So to think that like attracts like, and if you think negative, you're going to attract negative, and if you feel positive, you're going to attract positive. All you're doing is you're creating some kind of a fear of a natural process that is actually necessary. Now, I can tell you in my life, I've had periods where, I felt negative about a lot of situations. And I've been in situations where I had anxiety, I had a lot of negative feelings, but that's what made me decide to make the change. None of my thoughts. I remember one time, I had no money, I didn't know how to pay the rent, and I had this fear that I could literally see myself working in an office under neon lights with people that had their personality surgically removed. I thought, I was gonna, I just couldn't find a job, and the movies that were going through my head, and all these negative thoughts, had more than enough power to manifest in real life if negative thoughts were really manifesting as they tell us. But they didn't, in fact. But what it did was it made me desperate enough to not reject a little job that was offered to me that otherwise I would have rejected, because it wasn't, it just wasn't big enough. It was a bit of a hassle, not too many hours and not a lot of money. But because I was pushed to the brink and through all these negative emotions that went through me and fear, I was almost forced to take it, not realizing that this little job would be an extension of the current job that I'm doing right now. My soul actually pushed me to not object and not reject this offer through negative feelings. I just felt fed up, and I'm sure that you had the same thing, where sometimes you stayed in your comfort zone as long as you can until you felt that that's it. I've had enough. Something needs to change. Not changing was a lot more painful than changing. Your soul would just keep nagging and telling you that a change is required, and that's what life is about. I mean, life is not about staying the same. We as humans sometimes like to stay in the comfortable, familiar sort of environment, but that's not how things work. And sometimes we do need to get a nudge, and that nudge comes through our negative feelings and emotions. That feeling of being fed up. My soul was basically preparing me for the next stage. It made my situation feel so bad that I could not reject it. This is it's a guiding mechanism that it uses. And it's there for a reason and for a purpose. So next time you're feeling negative, or you have these negative emotions of whatever the reason is, just stop and think, where do they come from? Think about the root of them and be honest with yourself whether it is time for a change, and whether you are avoiding some kind of a change. Whether you're negative and unhappy because you stayed where you are for too long, and you just feared making a change. You feared of the unknown. You just didn't want to move, and you kept feeling those negative emotions, and you kept putting them aside and throwing them aside, and trying to turn them into positive thinking, and they kept coming back. And there was like this tug of war between the positive and the negative. And when you finally made the change, whether you made it or it was made for you, then you could see the reason why you were feeling unhappy and negative in your situation. Don't ignore these feelings. I mean, they're there for a reason. And as humans, we have the right to feel positive and negative, but we're not going to be punished for that. You're not going to be punished for that. I mean, obviously, if you let it continue on and on, then it's just going to be unpleasant, and that's all you're doing. It's it's the same as you go on a nice drive and you keep thinking about negative things about your drive, then you're not gonna enjoy it. All it's going to do is prolong the inevitable. You're going to stay in that negative place for a lot longer than you had to. But at the end of the day, the change will just happen. All you're doing is just you're delaying the inevitable. Your soul will continue sending you those negatives and feelings that make you want to change. And these negative feelings can sometimes be your ally. God does not play dice with the universe, as Einstein once said. And the course of all events is predetermined. So whether you are thinking negative or positive, where you need to be and what needs to happen in your life will happen. You're not gonna manifest the negative and cross out what was destined for you. So I hope this makes sense, and I hope the next time you're feeling negative that you won't be scared that it's going to manifest in your life, but instead pay attention to it and see and check the root of it and see where it's coming from and whether a change is required. So I hope this video made sense, and I hope it helped you. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe. I'll try and upload a video once a week if I can. So hit the notification button so you're notified whenever I upload a video. And share and write your comments. I'd love to know what you think. And until next time, just remember, where you are is exactly where you need to be. And just listen to your soul and listen to your heart. The universe is not going to punish you because you're having negative thoughts. Until then, be well, and I'll talk to you soon.